Starting us off at number 10 is Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy. There has always been a lot of speculation around this affair ever since rumors started circulating that the president had an affair with Marilyn while he was married to Jackie Kennedy. These rumors heightened after her iconic, sultry performance of Happy Birthday to the President. I don't think we can ever forget that one. For many years it was all rumors and no confirmation, but in 2013 a biography came out and confirmed these claims to be true. In the biography titled "In These Few Previous Days, the Final Year of Jack and Jackie," it claimed that Marilyn once called Jackie to tell her that John had promised to marry her. The biography also claimed that he was having an affair with multiple women, but Jackie was most concerned about the one with Marilyn because she knew it would cause a huge and very heavily documented scandal. Now, of course, whether the biography is even true, we will never know. So, I guess we take this one with a grain of salt. Moving on to number 9 is Ashton Kutcher and Sarah Leal. Ashton was married to Demi Moore for 6 years at the time that the scandal had unfolded in front of the entire world. His administrative assistant, Sarah Leal, had come forward and alleged that she had intimate relations with him during an interview with US Weekly. Demi spoke about the affair in her 2019 memoir called Inside Out, where she said she found out about the cheating scandal through a Google alert. When she confronted Ashton about it, she said that he admitted to it right away. The heavily documented scandal was the catalyst for the breakdown of their marriage, with the two of them finalizing their divorce in 2013. Ashton never personally addressed the scandal, except for in 2017 when he admitted that his name was splashed around every gossip magazine for being an adulterer. Swiping our number 8 spot is Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley. It is one thing to get caught in a cheating scandal in Hollywood, and it's another thing when it includes someone getting arrested. In 1995, the actor was arrested in Los Angeles for misdemeanor lewd conduct in a public place with a Hollywood sex worker. He was caught having this affair after he paid her to perform acts on him. We'll leave it at that. The actor ended up pleading no contest and paid a fine. But what made matters worse is that he was married to Elizabeth Hurley at the time, so the whole scandal was flooding the media, including his mugshot. But despite the fact that he cheated, she stayed with him for 5 years in hopes to fix their marriage. However, it didn't work out and they split later down the road for good.
And at number 7, Beyonce. Beyonce and Jay-Z are an incredibly private couple, but their darkest secret was exposed to the world when Beyonce released her album Lemonade, which told the story of her husband cheating. One song referenced a woman named Becky with the good hair, which caused tons of speculation about who this person was. A woman who worked with Jay-Z named Rachel Roy was first thought to be the woman, but she denied it. Then in 2017, Jay-Z released his album 444, which confirmed that he cheated. In this album, he apologized to Beyonce and their children for his mistake. He also spoke about the mistake in an interview later.
Cruising into spot number 6 is Jude Law and Daisy Wright. This affair was one of the biggest ones in Hollywood history. 1, because it was so documented, and 2, because it involved someone close to their family. I am talking about the actor and his fiancée at the time, Sienna Miller. Back in 2004, they were engaged and seemed to be a match made in heaven. But it wasn't long before the scandal surfaced in 2006 and revealed that Jude had been cheating on her with their nanny, Daisy. She was actually the one who came forward with the affair and gave out details of their entanglement, which apparently had gone on for some time. Jude did not bother denying it. He ended up coming clean to the affair and released a public apology to Sienna, saying that he deeply regrets it and that he is ashamed of his actions. Sienna broke off the relationship right away, but then they got back together and tried to rekindle things. It actually wasn't until 2011 that they officially called it quits. Halfway through our list at number 5 is Ethan Hawke. Back in 2003, reports revealed that Ethan and Uma Thurman were ending their marriage and that their nanny, Ryan Shaw Hughes, was the reason for it. At the time, Ethan heavily denied it, but then he went on to date Ryan and then later marry her in 2008. And yes, they are still together to this day, so I will save you the time from going and googling it. This might be the one time that they actually went on to be with the nanny forever. But Ethan has always stuck to his guns, saying that they did not fall in love with each other until after he ended things with Uma Thurman. He defended himself and said, "I know a lot of people imagine some kind of Sound of Music type love affair, but the truth is, by the time Ryan and I were falling in love, it had been a long while since I had employed her." I don't buy it. But hey, maybe you do. Who really knows the truth? Let me know in the comments if you believe it or not. Moving into spot number 4 is Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. Meg was in the prime of her career at the time, being the leading lady of romantic comedies, all while being married to Dennis Quaid. They got married in 1991, but then in 2000, she was exposed for having an affair with her co-star at the time, Russell. They were filming Proof of Life together at the time, and they were spending a lot of time together, which apparently led to this affair. She immediately took the heat for the affair, and everyone was heavily criticizing her to a point where it started to affect her career and roles that she was no longer getting. She tried speaking up about it and said that Dennis had actually cheated on her in their relationship in the past, but that it just was not made public. But people didn't care. She was still the only one to get bad press for it. Her and Dennis finalized their divorce not long later in 2001. Russell Crowe didn't get any freaking heat, eh? Cool, sure.
Number 3, LeAnn Rimes. This affair was not exactly unique. In fact, it's a story so common in Hollywood that it borders on cliche. Actors LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian were co-stars who met on the set of a Lifetime movie called Northern Lights. They immediately hit it off and the flirting began. But the kicker was that they were both already married at the time to other people. But hey, in classic Hollywood fashion, they didn't let that stop them, and not long after meeting, they were photographed having dinner together, and the rumor mill did the rest. After extreme press coverage of the affair, both LeAnn and Eddie decided to make it official and separated from their respective spouses, all to be with each other. They eventually ended up tying the knot in 2011. But the story doesn't entirely end there, and a few years later, Eddie was caught cheating on LeAnn at Wendy Williams' 50th birthday party. But she claimed she's unfazed by the whole thing and does not seem to mind the fact that he flirts with other women. You know what they say, sometimes how you get them is how you lose them.
Taking over number 2 is Jesse James and multiple women. Once again, the scandal just involved more than one person, so I can't really pick just one. He got married to Sandra Bullock in 2005, but they went their separate ways just 5 years later in 2010, after he was exposed for cheating. Articles called him a serial cheater, as a handful of women came forward with proof that he was cheating throughout his entire marriage. It all started when In Touch magazine revealed intimate details of his affair with model Michelle McGee. From there, 2 other women came forward sharing their details of having romantic entanglements with him during his marriage. One was an exotic dancer and the other was a photographer. Sandra filed for divorce immediately, and Jesse didn't even bother denying the claims. He actually called it a part of life. He told Daily Mail, I quote, "Yeah, I did cheat on my wife. Yeah, I stood up and took accountability for it and apologized. In general, both women and men cheat. It's part of life." Well, it doesn't have to be part of life. But okay. In the number 1 spot is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. We could never forget this affair, probably because the 2 of them went on to get married and create a family together, even though it came from infidelity. Brad was married to Jennifer Aniston at the time, but that did not stop him from cozying up with another woman. He met Angelina on the set of Mr. and Miss Smith in 2004, which is where the 2 of them got close. A little too close. The affair ended up getting exposed in the public eye, and even though Jen and Brad had split, Brad jumped straight into the relationship with Angelina. Well, because he was already having the relationship. People did not agree with it and even criticized Angelina for bragging about it. During an interview in 2008, she talked with the New York Times saying, "Not a lot of people get to see a movie where their parents fell in love." Well, I hope you also told your kids that their dad was married at the time that you guys fell in love during this movie. I'm very passionate about this one because I love Jennifer Aniston. Rachel Green? Oh, we fell in love on this set, isn't that beautiful? No, because dad was married to another woman, actually. Anyways.
In at number 10, Robert Kardashian. While Kris Jenner was married to Rob Kardashian, she was caught having an affair with a friend named Todd Waterman. Robert knew this at the time of their divorce many years ago, but Kris didn't reveal her infidelity to the world until she released her memoir in 2011 called Kris Jenner and All Things Kardashian. In the book, she kept the name of the man private and called him Ryan, but the man was later identified as Waterman. Kris later revealed that the biggest mistake in her life was divorcing Rob. Todd also regrets his part in the affair. Waterman told the Daily Mail in 2012, quote, "There's several things I regret, and it's definitely the pain that it caused Robert and the children specifically. I think it affected Courtney the most. I know she was definitely affected, and I always felt bad about that." And at number 9, Will Smith. Will and Jada Smith are the ultimate Hollywood power couple, but even they have problems. While they were going through a rough patch, Jada started an entanglement with another man. Apparently Will had known about this relationship since it happened, but the world found out when the man that Jada cheated with, named Alsina, revealed it to the world. He said, quote, "I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, and I truly and really deeply loved and have a ton of love for her." Speaking about Jada, Alsina claimed that Will knew about the relationship and gave them his blessing. At first Jada denied the claims, but later decided to speak about it on the Red Table Talk. On the show, Jada said there was a point in time that her and Will were thinking of separating. At this point she started this relationship, but in the end, Will and Jada ended up back together. In at number 8, Regina Lasko. David Letterman admitted to cheating on his wife in front of the entire world. In 2009, Letterman got on television and told his unsuspecting viewers that he was being blackmailed. Apparently this person knew that Letterman was cheating on his wife with his coworkers and wanted $2 million to keep the secret to himself. Instead of giving in, Letterman admitted it to the whole world. At the time of the cheating, Letterman had been married to his wife for 6 months, but they were together for 20 years prior. It was later revealed the blackmailer was a producer on Letterman's show, and the woman Letterman was cheating with was dating this producer.
And spot number 7, we have Tiger Woods and multiple women. Honestly, there's no nicer way of saying it, and the whole scandal included more than 10 different women. It all started in 2009 when the National Enquirer reported that Woods cheated on his wife with a nightclub owner named Rachel Uchitel. I think that's right. Media outlets reported not long after that his wife had attacked him with a golf club after finding out the news and finding proof in his phone while he was sleeping. After it was made public, more than 12 women came forward and claimed they had relationships and flings with him, sharing text messages and voicemails as proof. He ended up admitting to his infidelity and issued a public apology. Because of the scandal, he actually lost several endorsements and had to take a break from tournaments. He and his wife got divorced in 2010.
In at number 6, Emma Thompson. Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson married in 1989 and worked together on various projects throughout their marriage. At one point, rumors started swirling that Kenneth might be cheating with his Mary Shelley's Frankenstein co-star, Helena Bonham Carter. The details of the affair were not spoken of publicly, but in a 2013 interview, Thompson confirmed there was an affair. She also added she'd made peace with Helena. In 2018, Thompson told The Telegraph that one of the most famous scenes from Love Actually, where she found the necklace, was based on reality. At that time, she just learned of the affair and used her emotion for that scene. She said, quote, "I had my heart very badly broken by Ken, so I knew what it was like to find the necklace that wasn't meant for me. I've had so much bloody practice crying in a bedroom than having to go out and be cheerful, gathering up the pieces of my heart and putting them in a drawer."
Number 5, Robin Thicke. 2013 was really not the greatest year for the Canadian-American singer. His hit song Blurred Lines was criticized for being what is now called lyrically problematic, not to mention his notorious performance with Miley Cyrus at the 2013 Video Music Awards, where she first started twerking. But what really hurt his relationship was when rumors began swirling about him possibly cheating on his wife of 9 years, Paula Patton. A photo surfaced of Robin with his hand on a woman's backside while they were attending a party. The trouble was that there was a mirror right behind him revealing exactly where his hand was, and it didn't look good. But instead of explaining his behavior, he said, quote, "My only comment about the so-called scandalous photo would be that my wife and I are perfectly in love and very happily married." He went on to call Paula his greatest love of the century and the most functional, dysfunctional marriage in Hollywood. Well, he might have got that last part right. Paula filed for divorce a year later and even filed a restraining order in 2017, alleging that he was physically and emotionally violent towards her.
And at number 4, Tori Spelling. The old saying goes, how you get 'em is how you lose 'em. And that was proven in this relationship. While Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott were dating other people, they started cheating on their partners with each other. Eventually, Dean and Tori started dating and even got married. But then years later, rumors started to swirl that Dean was cheating on Tori. Dean actually admitted to it and even checked himself into rehab. The whole thing was shared on the couple's TV show, so viewers got to see exactly what was happening. The pair managed to work through it all and are still married today.
Coming in hot at number 3, we have Mick Jagger. This one has been a big debate ever since the news broke because the cheating allegations came straight from the nanny. Some people believed her story while others just thought that she had different motives. So let me know what you guys think. Back in 2002, nanny Claire Houseman alleged she had a sexual consensual relationship with Mick Jagger. She spoke with the Daily Mirror at the time and went into details about the time that they hooked up, claiming that it happened in the kitchen, which was just 30 feet away from the bedroom that he stayed in with his wife, Jerry Hall. She even went as far as saying that she had Mick in the morning, and then he had his afternoon delight in the afternoon with his wife on the same day. Not a good look for Mick, obviously, that's for sure, and not her either. But Claire was firm on the fact that she had no regrets to this hookup, but admitted that she did feel bad for Jerry at the time. How kind of you to feel bad for me, even though you're banging my husband. Thanks so much.
And at number 2, Iggy Azalea. The messy split all started with a prank war, if you can believe it. The Lakers were caught up in a prank war, and in the midst of that war, Nick Young revealed he was cheating on Iggy. The whole thing was even caught on tape. Apparently behind closed doors, Nick Young and Iggy worked it out and he managed to convince her that it was all a lie, which she decided to believe, and they kept dating. But then security cameras caught Young in the act, and Iggy saw him bringing girls into their home. To add insult to injury, it came out that Young was even expecting a baby with his ex-girlfriend, Kiana Green, which was conceived while he and Iggy were together. Iggy ended up dumping him on Twitter. And finally, at number 1, Sienna Miller. Jude Law and Sienna Miller were one of Hollywood's hottest couples, until they were caught up in a cheating scandal. Even worse, Jude Law cheated with the nanny. The couple was engaged for 8 months when the nanny claimed that she and Jude Law were having an affair. Jude Law ended up admitting to the cheating and apologized to Sienna in an open letter. He said in part, quote, "There is no defense for my actions, which I sincerely regret, and I ask that you respect our privacy at this very difficult time." The pair stayed together for a few years, but they split for good in 2011.
Starting off our list, number 10 is Jude Law. His affair was one of the biggest ones in Hollywood history because of how heavily documented it was. Honestly, it was all the media was talking about at one point in time. He got engaged to Sienna Miller back in 2004, and they honestly seemed like a match made in heaven. But it wasn't long before a cheating scandal surfaced in 2006 and revealed that Jude had been cheating with their nanny. It was the nanny, Daisy Wright, who came out and shared the details of their little entanglement. Jude did not deny it to the press. He actually came clean about the affair and released a public apology to Sienna, saying that he is ashamed and deeply regrets it. Sienna broke off the relationship immediately, but then they tried to rekindle it. It wasn't actually until 2011 that they officially called it quits. Bless her heart for trying to still make it right after that. In spot number 9, we have Ben Affleck. Now, this one is still up for debate, and it always has been, so it will just depend on whose side of the story you actually believe. I will leave that up to you. The actor was once married to Jennifer Garner, and rumors started spreading rapidly that he had cheated on her with their nanny, Christine. Sources claim that they spotted him with the nanny after his split with Jennifer, and that it was revealed that they had been having inappropriate meetings while they were actually together. At the time, Ben refused to comment on the claims, but his rep did. His rep called the allegations complete garbage. As for the nanny, she was legally not allowed to speak on her relationship with Ben and Jennifer, but neither of them continued to use her as a nanny even after they went their separate ways. Cruising into number 8 is Gavin Rossdale. It was an unhappy ending for his marriage with Gwen Stefani. The two of them were married for 13 years before it ended because of adultery. Turns out Gavin was cheating on Gwen right under her nose for 3 years with the family's long-term nanny, Mindy Mann. She was their nanny for a very long time and took care of their 3 sons. Gwen actually uncovered the affair was happening through explicit texts between the two of them, including nude photos of Mindy and plans to meet up for a hookup. She didn't actually find the messages by snooping through his phone. Another nanny discovered them through the family iPad, which was linked to Gavin's phone, and then she told Gwen. Mindy was immediately fired, obviously, and even though Gavin initially said it was all just flirting and that an affair never actually happened, it wasn't until months later that he fully admitted it, and Gwen ended the marriage. Rightfully so.
Number 7, Kristen Stewart. The Twilight movies were some of the biggest successes of our time, and at the center of all the media frenzy surrounding the film was Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, the two co-stars who began a relationship during filming. Fans were absolutely obsessed with the then It couple, but everything really changed when paparazzi pictures were leaked in 2012 of Stewart and Rupert Sanders making out. He was the director of Snow White and the Huntsman, which she also starred in. The shocking photos of Christian kissing another man circulated everywhere, and fans were rightfully heartbroken. I mean, literally everyone had an opinion, including Donald Trump for some reason. Sanders tried to do some serious damage control by calling the kiss a momentary lapse. Kristen also had to publicly apologize to Robert, but it didn't really help because the two broke up soon after. And the two reconciled for a time but eventually broke up again. Safe to say that their relationship never really recovered. But several years later, in an interview, the actress insisted that it wasn't an actual affair, but because of the intense media scrutiny at the time, she didn't see the point in denying it.
Coming up next at number 6 is Stephen Belafonte. This one is a lot to unravel. I was actually reading through all the articles on this, and my god, it was the messiest divorce like in history. No joke. Stephen and his ex-wife Mel B, the former Spice Girl, hired a nanny named Lorraine Gills who was in her 20s throughout their working relationship. But Mel B started to claim that Stephen was having an affair with Lorraine, and that is when things just got very messy. Stephen and Lorraine then came forward and said that the three of them were in a sexual relationship together and that no affair was ever going on. But then Mel went as far as claiming that her husband actually got Lorraine pregnant during the affair and then paid her $240,000 to have an abortion. They were all in this massive legal battle for years, and Lorraine actually sued Mel B for defamation based on these claims. Mel ended up having to pay her $1.8 million, and Stephen and Lorraine still remain friends to this day. That is a messy situation. Halfway through our list, number 5 is Alex Rodriguez and Madonna. Alex was with his ex-wife Cynthia Scurtis at the time that this scandal blew up in his face. There were multiple rumors going around at the time of infidelity on his end, and one of them was allegedly with Madonna. Why this affair was so shocking was because Madonna was also married at the time and she was denying the claims. It was actually Alex's former trainer at the time, Dodd Romero, who talked about the affair. He claimed that Alex got pulled in by the dark side of Madonna's religion at the time and was totally brainwashed. A friend of Cynthia's also spoke out and said that she told her she found a letter from Alex to Madonna, and in it he told her that she was his true soulmate. In interviews though, Alex always said that he and Madonna were just friends, and that is what they have always claimed, so we really don't know. I don't buy it. Rolling into spot number 4, we have The Dream. 2010 was a crazy year for him and his wife Christina Milian. He filed for divorce in February, which came as a total shock to Christina, as she was just 9 days away from giving birth to their daughter. What a gentleman. She asked the court to throw out the divorce papers though, claiming that he was lying about the status of their relationship and also said that he had cheated on her. Turns out she wasn't wrong about the whole cheating claims. Photos leaked and showed The Dream cheating on her with his own personal assistant, Melissa Marie. Images showed them frolicking and just getting real touchy with each other in the Caribbean. When Christina was asked about the cheating scandal, she said, "I didn't know anything, but looking back, my gut was telling me something was off, but I thought I could fix it." Good news is she went on to be a great mother and said motherhood has made her feel sexier than she ever has before. You go, girl.
And at number 3, Brandi Glanville. This one's a bit of a mess with a lot of cheating involved. At one point in time, Brandi Glanville and Eddie Cibrian were married, and LeAnn Rimes was married to Sean Sherman. But then LeAnn and Eddie started cheating together, and it turned into a huge mess. The affair was a main storyline on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, along with Vanderpump Rules. Vanderpump Rules star Sheena Shea was also involved in this drama because she was also cheating with Eddie, while Eddie was with both LeAnn Rimes and Brandi Glanville. Eddie must have been very busy during this time. But there's somewhat of a happy ending. LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian got married and are still together to this day.
Rolling into the number 2 spot, we have Jon Gosselin. You would probably know him better as John from John and Kate +8, the family with 8 children who got their own reality show and won the hearts of millions of people. It was a fun show. It was kind of weird. But their family life got complicated back in 2009 when a babysitter named Stephanie Santoro opened up to the tabloids about her alleged affair with John. We aren't talking about him cheating on Kate though. This was at the time that he was with his girlfriend, Haley Glassman. He swore that he never cheated and that he was always very faithful to Haley, but Stephanie begged to differ. She claimed that he cheated on multiple occasions and that it all started when he invited her to his place to hang out in the hot tub one night. Haley and John eventually broke up, and his mom even admitted to the press that he did not see Haley as the person he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. So that kind of added to the cheating rumors. Winning our number 1 spot is Bill Clinton. I mean, there's really no way that this one would come cause a ton of controversy. Former President Bill Clinton was caught in a massive sex scandal that led to his impeachment in 1998. He had an affair on his wife Hillary Clinton with a White House intern. He spoke about it all these years later in 2020 when he did an interview for Hillary, the documentary series. He actually took full responsibility in the documentary and said, "Nobody sits down and thinks, I think I'll take a really irresponsible risk. It's bad for my family, bad for my country, bad for the people who work with me." He also went on to explain that the affair was something he used to manage his anxieties, which obviously had people on Twitter just losing their minds. As for Hillary, she did remain by his side through the affair, and even though they are still together to this day, she said it was a very devastating time for her.
Number 10. Nick Young. In March, a secretly taped video from Lakers player D'Angelo Russell hit the internet, which showed Nick Young admitting to cheating on then-fiancée Iggy Azalea. He claimed that it was false, and she believed him, even going on the Ellen DeGeneres show shortly afterwards to assure everyone that things were good between them. But their relationship soon crumbled when Iggy caught Nick on a security camera bringing back girls into their home. He didn't even have the decency to go someplace else, although that would have been just as bad. She announced the split on Instagram. Quote, "Unfortunately, although I love Nick and have tried to rebuild my trust in him, it's become apparent in the last few weeks I am unable to." Nick, on the other hand, just simply tweeted the word single. To add insult to injury, it later came out that he was also expecting a baby with his ex-girlfriend Kiana Green, and the baby was definitely conceived while the former couple were still together. Number 9. Jesse James. Sandra Bullock and Jesse James married in 2005, and throughout the first few years of their marriage, they looked happier than ever as they attended red carpet events together. The host of Monster Garage supported his successful wife as she won countless awards thanks to her incredible talents as an actress. But it was soon uncovered that Jesse had been cheating on Sandra Bullock for a long time with multiple women, which led him to become, by his own admission, the most hated man in the world. He eventually checked into rehab for sex addiction, and Sandra swiftly filed for divorce in 2010. But the kicker is that he never showed any real remorse for cheating on her with countless women. In an interview 7 years later, he said that he had no regrets about the affair, and went on to say, quote, "Yeah, I did cheat on my wife. Yeah, I stood up and took accountability for it and apologized, and that's the end of the story." In general, both women and men cheat, it's a part of life. What an absolute Prince Charming. Number 8. Scott Disick. This decade-long romance was very well documented on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and although fans loved Scott's quick-witted, snarky humor, it was obvious that he had trouble remaining committed to Kourtney. The pair eventually called things off for good after Scott went on a party binge just weeks after the birth of their third child together, and photos of him getting close with other women surfaced online. Pictures emerged of Scott and his ex-girlfriend Chloe Bartoli getting pretty cozy while on vacation. The two broke up after this incident but continued to have a rocky relationship. First, her sister Kim caught a girl hiding in Scott's bathroom in Dubai, and finally the eldest Kardashian invited Scott on a family vacation to Costa Rica. He ended up sneaking a girl into his hotel room, and while he was trying to reunite with his ex, the final incident is what prompted Kardashian to tell Scott they were never ever getting back together.
Up next, number 7, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger. Another nanny cheating scandal affair that flooded media outlets and was very heavily documented because the story was so shocking. It's still shocking. The world was in complete shock when finding out that he had a secret son no one knew about for 20 years. He was married to Maria Shriver at the time of the affair and had 4 children together. He had an affair in 1996 with their nanny, Mildred Baena. It allegedly happened while the family was on vacation, and then he stayed behind to shoot a movie. Once Mildred got pregnant and had her son, Arnold thought it belonged to her husband until he got older and realized that the son started to look a lot like he did. Once he confirmed that he was the father, he began to financially support him, and once Maria found out, she ended the marriage. Arnold says that he has spent a lot of time with his son Joseph over the years and that they have been getting closer, even working out together.
Number 6. Jada Pinkett Smith. Although the Smiths themselves wouldn't call it cheating, the rest of the world was shocked when Azlina spoke about a relationship he had with Pinkett Smith during an interview in 2020. Quote, "I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life. I truly and really felt deeply in love and have a ton of love for her. He also revealed that Will Smith knew about it the whole time and had even given them his blessing. Though Jada initially denied the claims, she eventually confessed to being in an entanglement with August when she and her husband were separated. We decided we were going to separate for a period of time, and you go figure out how to make yourself happy and I'll figure out how to make myself happy. They both went on the Red Table Talk together, and in a heartbreaking episode, Jada told Will how she came to be romantically involved with August, and how he made her feel special because of what was lacking in their relationship at the time. Will took the whole thing like a champ, but the clip went viral online because he looked like he was on the verge of tears the whole time Jada was talking. It was just an all-round shocking moment.
Halfway number 5, Sandra Bullock. The marriage between Jesse James and Sandra Bullock went down in flames due to infidelity, caused by Jesse's insecurity over their relationship. The couple first started dating in 2003 and got married in 2005. But after only 5 years of marriage, they split in 2010, and it was exposed that Jesse had been cheating with multiple women. After the split, Jesse said the hardest thing was not being able to be with their adopted child Louis, who Bullock adopted without James. Following the cheating, Bullock filed for divorce, and Jesse James became the most hated man in America. At one point, he even tried to downplay the cheating to the public, which got him even more hate.
Number 4. Ryan Phillippe. The actor first met Reese Witherspoon while starring alongside her in the 1999 movie Cruel Intentions. They actually fell so in love with each other that they ended up getting married that same year. But all good things must come to an end, especially Hollywood romances. In 2008, Ryan started to get closer to his co-star, Australian actress Abby Cornish, while they were filming Stop Loss. The two of them seemed to be so comfortable being seen in public together that they were eventually caught having dinner together in a Texas restaurant, despite the fact that there were some curtains around the table. They were also caught together again just outside of Ryan's apartment. The affair was so in your face it just wasn't funny. But it wasn't until Reese Witherspoon discovered intimate text messages back and forth that were being exchanged between the two of them on his phone. Then it was clear that after 7 years of marriage and 2 children, Reese was ready to call it quits with Ryan, and later went on to marry talent agent Jim Toth, whilst Ryan and Abby's love affair eventually lost its spark.
Rolling into spot number 3 is Kristen Stewart and Rupert Sanders. This is by far one of the worst scandals to ever get caught on camera. I remember the pictures being everywhere at the time. It was back in 2011 when Kristen was dating her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson, and everyone thought they were going to be together forever. Or at least we hoped. I hoped. But then out of nowhere, pictures of her making out with another man were all over the internet and the cover of magazines. The man was Rupert Sanders, who was the director of her movie Snow White and the Huntsman, which is where the two of them met. Rupert was also married at the time to the mother of his children, Liberty Ross, so things were very messy. People were also shocked because he was 41 at the time and Kristen was only 22, so the age gap just surprised a lot of people. Robert and Kristen split immediately, but Rupert and his wife continue to try and work it out.
Number 2. Kevin Hart. This comedian and actor unfortunately has a long history of messing around behind his partner's backs and not really caring enough to hide the fact that he was doing so. I mean, the comedian even incorporated the story of cheating on his first wife into his 2013 special Let Me Explain. Even though he tried to make it seem as though the experience made him change and grow as a person, it wasn't long before the same scandal arose yet again. 4 years after the special aired, he publicly admitted to cheating on his second wife, Eniko Parish, while she was pregnant with his son. Now he is somehow using this new story in his new Netflix docuseries Kevin Hart Don't F It Up, where he has his wife talk about how she found him cheating. Quote, "How I found out was a DM. I don't know who it was. They sent me an edited video of Kevin and, you know, another woman." But she went on to say that she does believe in second chances and that she's all about forgiveness, and adding that 3 strikes and you're out, which everyone can agree is way more than fair. Number 1. Tristan Thompson. Buckle up because this one is pretty crazy. In 2018, photos of Tristan having an affair surfaced online while he was dating Khloe Kardashian. And get this, she was 9 months pregnant. Then if you thought that was bad, not long after, TMZ came out with a video footage dating back to October 2017 that showed the NBA player kissing 2 other random women at the club. But despite the fact that there was now hard evidence of Tristan cheating on Crowe without really attempting to hide it, they decided to stay together for the birth of their child. But things did not stay smooth forever, as in 2019 reports surfaced that Tristan had cheated on Crowe once again, this time with none other than Jordyn Woods, who was a close friend of the family, Kylie Jenner's best friend and roommate. Anonymous party attendees told TMZ that the pair were all over each other and made out several times throughout the night. The explosive incident almost broke up the family entirely, and since then, Jordyn and Kylie severed all ties to each other, and Crowe and Tristan called it quits for good.